Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishwaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhag Vyomavad Vyapta Deha Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavaršinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandadami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sankabadakramopadishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastitadadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Syantanna Vidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Namaste once again, everyone.
Namaste.
Today I have also got a slightly sore throat. So if you are not able to hear me properly, please ask me, I will repeat. Okay. All right. So 21st sloka. Avyaktoksara ityuktaha tamahu paramam gatim yam prapyana nivartante taddhama paramam mama. So in the previous mantras, after talking about the duration of Brahmaji's day and night, Krishna said that when the night of Brahmaji falls, the entire universe goes from manifestation to unmanifestation. That the whole universe resolves into its seed form. And then when Brahmaji's day dawns, the whole universe again becomes manifest. And the unmanifest condition is called Avyakta, which is otherwise popularly known as Maya. And the manifest universe is called Vyakta. Now, such a description would leave an impression that the whole world consists of two entities, Avyakta and Vyakta, and both relating to matter principle. Thereafter, Krishna said that apart from these two, there is a third entity is also there, which is also Avyakta, and we named it Avyakta number 2. And in the course of time, when all the beings in the universe perish, that is, when they become unmanifest, perish within inverted commas, So when they become unmanifest, this entity that is Avyakta number 2 is not affected because it is Sanatanaha, timeless, it is beyond time. And therefore, the passage of time does not affect this entity. And in this shloka, Krishna says that that entity, that Avyakta number 2, is called Akshara, imperishable, which is also known as Brahman in the scriptures. And when he says that the wise principle, the people who have already realized the truth about Brahman, they say that Brahman is Paramam Gatim. That Brahman is the ultimate destination. Yam prapya na nivartante. Reaching, again within quotes, reaching which one does not return, means one is not reborn. And the reason we put the word reaching within quotes, as I explained in the last class, is that Brahman, the consciousness principle, is beyond time and space. And this word reaching implies a travel, which is in terms of time and space. And therefore, the word reaching should be understood properly. Because it is words like these only, they create confusion in the minds of people. And they erroneously believe that reaching Vaikuntha or Kailasa is moksha. Unfortunately, such people, they do not have access to the knowledge which is there in the Upanishads. And they do not come to know what in reality is known by moksha or liberation. But now the question is, if that be the case, then how do you reach that Brahman without involving any travel? Because the moment you talk of travel, you have come to the field of time and space. So you have to reach Brahman and you should not travel also. It is only possible in one way, and that is through wisdom. That gaining the knowledge that Brahman has never been away from me, will never be away from me. Brahman is that consciousness principle which happens to be I myself. So you reach Brahman in the form of claiming Brahman as your own self. Brahma Jnanam eva Brahma Prapti. So, through what will I reach Brahman? Through knowledge. Actually, through knowledge also you cannot reach Brahman. Through knowledge, you can only drop the notion that Brahman is away from me. So there is no question of reaching Brahman or reaching some place. When jnanam comes, the ajnanam that Brahman is away from me goes away. The ignorance goes away. And the knowledge is what? Aham Brahmasmi, knowledge. That is what within inverted commas we say Brahman is reached, Brahman is attained, Brahman is realized. All those words, for want of a better expression in the language, we use all these terminologies. So even though we use the terminologies, we must be clear in our mind what we mean or what we understand by that. So Through knowledge, you drop the notion that Brahman is away from me. In fact, you drop the notion that Brahman was away from me ever. He will never be away from me. So all these are all very important fundamentals of Vedanta, which you have to reflect upon more and more. Yam prapyana nivartante, reaching whom one never returns. Tam mama paramam dhamaha. That alone, that means that consciousness alone is my supreme nature. Literally, paramam dhama means highest abode. Here, abode means nature. Because again, if you talk about abode in the literal sense, you get into a problem. Problem of what? Time and space. Therefore, we have to interpret the word abode or dhama here as swarupam, Krishna swarupam, Rama swarupam, etc. They are all my inferior nature. Apara prakriti, because they exist within time and space, whereas consciousness, which is my para prakriti, which is beyond time and space, that is my real abode. Therefore, start with apara prakriti. Start with form and name. But one day, you will have to recognize the para prakriti, tat mama paramam dhamaha. So this is where Krishna is introducing Akshara Brahman and also the nature of that Akshara Brahman. And he is emphasizing that that is the ultimate reality, absolute reality. Now continuing, Purushassa parah partha bhaktya labhyastvananyaya yasyantasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. The Anvaya is, He Partha, tu saha parah purusha labhyah ananyaya bhaktya bhutani yasya antasthani idam sarvam tatam yena. He Partha, O son of Prithu, O Arjuna, tu indeed, saha parama purusha, that supreme Lord, labhyaha, can be attained. Again, attained within inverted commas. Ananya bhaktya, by undivided devotion. Bhutani, all beings. Yasya antastani, are in him. Idam sarvam, and all this. Tatham, is pervaded. Yena, by him. So here Krishna is now revealing one more aspect of that Akshara Brahman, that consciousness. He says, O Arjuna, indeed that Supreme Lord can be attained by undivided devotion. All beings are in him. And all that is there here, which you see, which you experience, they are pervaded by him. So, the nature of Brahman, which is beyond time and space, is presented again here. He Partha, tu saha paramah purusha, paramah purusha. So this avyakta number 2, this consciousness principle, Krishna calls it here by another name, Parapurusha. He is the supreme Purusha, supreme Brahman, highest reality, absolute truth. In fact, earlier I have given two meanings of the word Purusha, which you have to recollect in this context. In that, we have to take the meaning Purayati Sarvan. That is Purusha. That meaning we have to take. Pervades everything. So this absolute Brahman, Yasya Antastani Bhutani, in which Brahman alone rests all beings. And the idea Krishna wants to convey here is that Brahman does not exist within creation. On the other hand, the whole creation rests in that Brahman. So, Antastani Bhutani, Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham. Should not go to Hemavarnam Shubhangam. Only Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham, that idea is presented here. Antastani Bhutani. Because if you go to other future, Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Hemavarnam Shubhangam, all that, if you go, you get into Apara Prakriti territory. So all these slokas, when you chant, if you know the meaning, you have to be very careful not to cross the line of control. Of course, you can chant slokas, but clearly identify which is para prakriti territory, which words are conveying the para prakriti meaning of the nama, and which words are conveying the apara prakriti meaning. And that is why, all our prayers, the beauty is they will give both the lower form as well as the higher form. They will describe both in all the prayers, be it Vishnu Sahasranamam, Lalita Sahasranamam, everywhere. You can choose according to your level of intellect understanding. So if you do not like Gagana Sadrisham means what? Space is like God. So if you cannot conceive of that, you can keep Meghavarnam Shubhanga. Thus, both Saguna and Nirguna Brahman aspects are told in all our slokas. So here Krishna says that in that absolute reality, in him alone, all beings rest. And yena sarvam idam tatam. And by this consciousness, the whole creation is pervaded. Because if you talk about the existence of anything, consciousness must be present there. Because even to talk about the existence of something, you require consciousness, isn't it? You are able to talk about it because you are sentient. You are a live soul. And that life in you is what? Is borrowed from that consciousness only. That awareness of something existing. How can you talk about without being aware of that? And therefore, existence presupposes knowledge. Knowledge presupposes consciousness. And therefore, whenever you talk about or whatever you talk about, consciousness must be there. And therefore, yena, by that consciousness, sarvam idam, this whole creation, this whole manifestation, tatham is pervaded, and that is Brahman. Now, some people may feel that this is all going above my head, too high a subject matter, very subtle. And they find that Bhagavatam, Dashamaskandam, very nice. There Krishna plays, he does Rasa Krida, kills Asuras, and goes. People feel that is better, easy to understand, easy to get entertained. But this consciousness, Brahman, beyond time, space, can't even conceive of that, too high for. So if any person feels that way, Krishna says, do not get disheartened. Everybody can come to the level of appreciating the subtle reality of the universe. But what is required is a sincere desire to get it. And therefore he says, Ananyaya Bhaktya Labhyaha. Once you understand that Ishvara Prapti alone is the ultimate goal, you can go to Nirgunam Brahma by your Nishkama Bhakti. Because anything else falls within what? Time and space. Therefore, mortality. So when you realize, when you understand, when you set your goal, that I am no longer interested in this mortality, the tyranny of time, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, then again repetitive cycles of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. I am no longer interested in all that. So once you have understood the tyranny of time, once you have sincerely voted for the timeless Brahman, you are called a Nishkama Bhakta or a Mumukshu. And with this sincere desire, you continue your Saguna Bhakti. You continue with your Upasana. Upasana on Saguna Brahman, Saguna Ishvara. Sooner or later, you will get the qualifications required for the Nirguna Bhakti. And therefore he says, Ananyaya Bhaktya, Nishkama Bhaktya, Saha Purushaha Labhyaha. That Brahman is attainable. So with this, Krishna completes his comparative study of God as higher goal and world as a lower goal. And an intelligent person would vote for God, not for the world. And if you vote for God, you become a Nishkama Upasaka. That is the idea Krishna has conveyed. Now he continues. And he takes a detour, goes to another top. 23rd sloka we will read. Yatra kale tvanavrittim avrittim chaiva yoginah prayata yanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshabha. So the Anvaya is, He Bharatarshabha, vakshyami tam kalam prayata yatra kale tu yoginah yanti anavrittim cha eva avrittim. He Bharatarshabha. Literally, Bharatarshabha means the bull of Bharatas. Means the strongest. They can't call it strongest, but leader of Bharatas, you can call it, in the sense of that fighting skills who has got. Vakshyami, I shall speak about. Tam kalam, those paths. Prayata hai, departing. Yatra kale tu, by which paths. Yoginah yanti, yogis attain. Anavrittim, the world of non-return. Cha eva avrittim, and the world of return. O Arjuna, I shall speak about those paths, departing by which path the yogis attain the world of non-return and the world of return. So here, as I said, Krishna now changes the topic. Changes in the sense there is a connection, because earlier he had said that when people choose the highest paramam gatim as their goal, they will not come back, they will not be reborn. Now that idea he is now expanding here. So, having talked about two types of destination, God and the world, in the previous verses, now from this verse onward, that is the 23rd verse onwards, Krishna talks about two types of margas or paths or ways which will lead to two forms of destinations. Because destination means what? There should be a path to reach there. If there are 5 destinations, there must be 5 routes to that, isn't it? We may call it by different names or different numbers, etc. You cannot have a destination without a route. Therefore, यदि साध्यद्वयं वर्तते तर्हि मार्गाः द्वयम् अपि स्यात्. Wherever there are destinations or 2 destinations are there, there have got to be 2 paths to reach those destinations. So what are those 2 margas, those 2 paths? Krishna wants to talk about that in this first he wants to talk about that. And once you talk about 2 types of paths leading to 2 types of destinations, then the next topic will be 2 types of travelers who will take the 2 types of paths reaching 2 types of destination. And therefore 2 types of travelers, 2 routes, 2 destinations. So 2 destinations have already been talked about. Now what remains to be talked about is 2 routes and 2 different types of travelers. That is going to be the topic from verses 23 to 27. Of these, first we are going to deal with 2 margas, which Krishna introduces in this verse. Yatra kale yoginah prayataha yanti. Prayataha means traveling by 2 routes. Here the word kala refers to the marga. Very carefully you have to understand. Very confusing expression. So the word kala does not refer to time. It refers to the path, the marga. So yatra kale means yena margena prayataha. So traveling through two different routes, yoginaha yanti. Yogina means the seekers, the travelers, the pilgrims. Yanti, reach two types of destination. What are they? Anavrittim, avrittim cha eva. Anavrittim means infinite goal, non-returnable goal, from where there is no return. So anavrittim indicates nitya moksha praptihi. Otherwise, in the context of this 8th chapter, we can understand it as krama muktihi. So anavritti means krama muktihi, nitya ishvara praptihi. And the other destination is avrittim. Avritti means returnable goal, where you travel with the return ticket. You cannot permanently stay there. Like, we go to US or any other country from India, you will be granted a visa, single entry visa. If it is multiple entry, they don't worry. Single entry. They will ask you when are you going and when are you returning. Without a return ticket, you will not. They will not allow you to board the flight also. So that returnable goal is called finite goal. Loka praptihi. So these two margas, which will lead to nitya praptihi and anitya praptihi, tam kalam. Tam kalam means tam margam. These two routes are the margas. Vakshyami, I shall teach you. Hey Arjuna. And these two paths will be called Shukla Marga, the brighter path, which leads to Bhagavan, to God, to Ishvara. Other one is called Krishna Marga, darker path, a gloomy path, because a person will go to a destination where there will be pleasures, etc. All right, good life. But after enjoying the pleasures, one has to come back. Come back where? Various higher lokas or lower lokas. First, that path will lead to higher loka. Krishna Marga, such Swarga, etc. And that is also called Devayana hai or Pitriyana hai. And Krishna is going to explain all these things. Agnirjyotirrah shuklah Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Vido Janah. Prayata hai tatra agnihi ज्योति अह शुक्ल षण्मासा उत्तर अयनम जना ब्रह्मविद ब्रह्म गच्छन्ति. That is the Anvaya. Prayata hai departing. Tatra, by that bright path. Agnihi, which is presided over by the deities of fire. Jyotihi, flame. Ahaha, day. Shuklaha, the bright fortnight. Shanmasaha Uttarayanam. And the 6 months of the sun's northern course. Janaha Brahma Vidaha. Those people who meditate on Saguna Brahman, Brahma Gachanti, attain Brahman. See, all these expressions create confusion. Here, the word Brahma is used. And we have to understand it as Saguna Brahman, not Nirguna Brahman. How do we understand? By the context in which that word Brahma is being used. As I told you, the many words in Sanskrit have got different meanings. The word Brahma itself has got a meaning as Vedas. So every word when we come across in the Shastra, in the scriptures, we have to carefully understand the context and then interpret that particular word in that particular context, rather, understand it that way. Otherwise, the whole knowledge will go for a toss. Anyway, so departing by that bright path, which is presided over by the deities of fire, flame, day, the bright fortnight, and the 6 months of sun's northern course, those people who meditate on Saguna Brahman attain Brahman. So in this verse, Krishna defines the brighter path called Shukla Marga or Shukla Gati or Devayana. And Tatra is there in the second line. Tatra means Devayana, Shukla Margena Prayataha. Those who go via the Shukla Marga, Brahma Gachanti, they will attain Brahman. Means they will attain Ishvara or they will attain Krama Muktihi. So here we have to understand the word Brahma as Krama Mukti Praptihi. So gradually going to Ishvara, then from there going to Brahmaloka, getting knowledge, and then attaining moksha, step by step mukti. All that we have discussed before, so I don't want to repeat it. Once they go to Brahmaloka, they will get Aham Brahmasmi Jnanam from Sakshat Brahmaji himself, which they cleverly escaped by not attending Gita classes here. So they are given one more opportunity. Because that goal is there. But they have not worked for that goal in this life. So they get one more opportunity to get that jnanam. And then having got that knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, they will get liberation. It is like students who appear in college term exams, at least here in India, I don't know about abroad, what is the system. Here what happens is there are terms exam, every end of the term there's an examination. And there will be, students will be tested on few subjects. And some students, they may fail in one or two subjects. They will fail to get the required pass marks. Now, for that reason, they don't need to write the whole exam again. They will not be failed. They can have what I think is called ATKT, allowed to keep terms. So they have to take re-examination in those papers. They can actually go to the next term, then take re-examination in those failed papers of the previous term. Then also the current term papers also they have to take examination. So we will find that some students who would have completed their 3-year or 4-year course, but still for getting the degree or the certificate, they may still have to write and pass examination in a few subjects. So these people who go by this Shukla Marga, they are like that. Shukla Margena Prayataha. Prayataha means, as I said, traveling people, Brahma Gachanti. And what is the nature of the Shukla Marga? Krishna identifies the Shukla Marga in a particular manner. And this is all based upon Upanishadic literature. The Vedas also talk about Shukla Marga and Krishna Marga. In the 10 important Upanishads, they are discussed. And even in Brahma Sutra, it is very elaborately discussed. And while talking about these two paths, the scriptures point out that there are guides to help these travelers in these two margas. Because if we do not know what is ahead, what is behind, and there is no local map, and GPS is also not there. No Google map, nothing is there. Therefore, we cannot know the marga, the route properly. Therefore, Veda says there are special devatas who are available, who will first welcome you. And not only they will welcome, but they will also guide up to a particular distance, each devata. Then hand over to the next guide, the next devata. No, it is like when you go on a package tour to Europe or someplace, you have to visit many countries. So suppose you start from England, there'll be a tour guide. Maybe he will travel with you, show you around, few places in UK. Then he will come with you to, he or she will come with you to, next stage will be France, go to Paris. And in Paris, that guide will hand you over to another guide, the local guide of Paris, who knows all about the tourist spots in Paris and in France in general. So like that, up to a particular distance, one devata will carry the jiva in the Shukla Marga. After that, hand it over to another devata. Similarly, these devatas guide the seeker to reach Brahma Loka. And who are these devatas who will guide? The celestial tourist guides. The Upanishad itself names them. Krishna is giving the names of those devatas in the first line. Agnihi, Jyotihi, Ahaha, Shuklaha, Uttarayanam. 5 devatas are the guides for this traveler. Agni devata, Jyotir devata, Ahar devata. The word Ahaha we have seen before in the context of the sloka, where Krishna described Brahmaji's day and night. So Ahaha literally means daytime. But in this context, daytime does not represent time at all. Here Ahaha means the name of a devata. So again, interpretation depending on the context. Similarly, Shukla refers to Shukla Paksha Devata, the presiding deity of Shukla Paksha. Similarly, Uttarayanam is Uttarayana Devata. This Uttarayana Devata's guidance lasts for 6 months. When the sun is going towards the north, as even the sun is going from east to west, we have all observed that there is a shift in the trajectory, because of which we call Uttarayanam and Dakshinayanam. Uttarayanam consists of 6 months, starting sometime in the middle of January, the 14, 15 January, and it ends in the middle of July. Again, around 14, 15, 16 July. Then Dakshinayanam starts for the next 6 months. And the Lord governing the law of the sun's movement is called a Devata. So we have got so many Devatas, millions of Devatas, because the word Devata in this context refers to an intelligent principle governing the law of nature. And you cannot sit down and make out a complete list of all the intelligent principles which govern the law of nature. Innumerable, countless. So we have got a gravitational Devata because that's the law. There must be an intelligent principle governing that law. So every law must be presided over by a corresponding intelligent principle, which we call Devata. And all the Devatas put together is called Hiranyagarbha Tattvam. So collectively it is called Hiranyagarbha Tattvam, and individual aspect is known by Surya Devata, Chandra Devata, Shukla Devata, etc. So when it comes to the Shukla Marga, this bright path, these 5 Devatas preside over, guide the seeker who travels through this Shukla Marga. And by this Marga, the traveler goes to Brahma Loka. Now the next question is, who is the traveler who is given this traveling ticket? Because it's a VIP Marga. Whether everyone can get it, if you ask, Upanishads say only special people, VVIPs alone will be entitled for this travel, for this route. And who are they? Krishna says, Brahma Vido Jana hai. Here again, the word Brahma Vido Jana hai means Saguna Brahma Upasaka hai, Ishvara Upasaka hai. Those who meditate upon Ishvara with attributes, with form. Which means what? Those people who merely perform rituals, they will not get the ticket for this route. They will be sent through the other route, Krishna Gati. Krishna Gati is going, coming back, going, coming back. Shukla Gati is what? Going, very rarely coming back, practically not coming back, getting Brahma Jnanam, Moksha. That is Shukla Gati. Karmis, they will not get this Shukla Gati. Now you ask, what about Jnanis? Will they get the ticket for Shukla Gati? If there is an exam for Vedanta, this question is sure to be there in the question paper. Luckily, we don't have exams for Vedanta. So will Jnani, excuse me, will a Jnani get a ticket for traveling by Shukla Gati? What is the answer? A Jnani need not have any ticket. Jnani is not going to travel. Jnani has already attained Sadhyo Mukti. So there is no need for Krama Mukti for him. The Jnani has attained liberation here and now. Therefore, Jnanis need not get Krama Mukti. They need not they need not travel through Shukla Marga. So after the fall of their body, there is no travel involved. On the contrary, the karmis, the ritualists, also will not get Krama Mukti. So the ritualists will not get Jivan Mukti, they will not get Krama Mukti, even they will not get Shukla Gati, the VIP highway, exclusively reserved only for Upasakas, people who meditate on Saguna Brahman, who grow to Brahma Loka, gain Jnanam and liberation. Now, during satsang in the previous class, there was a question from one of the students, and a very, very relevant question, I should say. Whether every jiva which goes to Brahma Loka will get Krama Mukti. And I answered that it is not necessary, because even after going to Brahma Loka, one has to get Brahma Jnanam or Atma Jnanam, and then only moksha can be gained. Of course, one needs to have extraordinary punyam to travel to Brahma Loka. But Mundaka Upanishad students, you can recall, as we saw in Mundaka Upanishad, the stay in Brahma Loka is also guaranteed only till the stock of punyam lasts. So before it gets exhausted, one needs to gain Brahma Jnanam and abide in that knowledge and attain moksha. So you have to, and unfortunately, you have no punyam monitoring meter attached to us. Okay, this much punyam has been now, exhausted, balance left. You can't know. And therefore, Shastra always emphasizes, never wait for some future date to get Brahma Jnana. Of course, you have to first attain the qualifications. That attaining qualification itself, the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, gaining that itself may take a few janmas, we don't know. But once you have that viveka vairagya in sufficient quantity, not necessarily, very high degree of viveka vairagya and mumukshutvam, etc., don't waste time. Because all these are lasting as long as your punyam lasts. Anyway, in terms of clarifying that question, I want to add one more point here. The chances of someone going to Brahma Loka and not getting Brahma Jnanam is very remote for two reasons. One is that there will be only very few students in Brahma Loka because of the high entry barriers, isn't it? So it will be like the Gurukulams of old times, where the Acharya, that is Brahmaji, will be able to monitor the conduct and progress of each student individually. So unlike in our classes or other Vedanta classes, Acharya will not even know. A student can log in and keep on doing. Acharya will think, oh, the student is present. But that student may be doing something else, not listening to the talk. There's all problems of all these Zoom kind of classes. Acharya cannot give individual attention other than probably answering some questions in the satsanga time. And especially if the students give prior intimation, as many acharyas will actually advise the student that if you are not able to attend, please let me know. First 1 or 2 times they will do, then later on they will also neglect that. So all that the Acharya will have to say, okay, I hope all students are attending. At least those who are interested will attend, that Acharya knows. So all these kind of things will be tolerated in Bhuloka, but not in Brahmaloka. Brahmaji immediately will do something. If he finds that somebody is come to Brahmaloka only for enjoying time pass, not for Brahma Jnana. As I said, that remote possibility only is there for that. So this is reason number one. Personal attention Brahmaji will give, nobody can escape this Brahma Jnana. Reason number two is that only those who have successfully done upasana, meditation, will get entry to Brahmaloka. And that meditation on Saguna Brahman would have given them sufficient Chitta Shuddhi that they will be automatically attracted towards Brahma Jnanam. As I said, they will have a high degree of Vairagyam and Viveka and also other qualification relating to Sadhana Chatushte Sampatti, that their mind would have become subtle enough to absorb the Vedantic knowledge with ease. And therefore, the chances of going to Brahmaloka and not getting Krama Mukti, though theoretically is possible, is a remote possibility. And since we are on that topic, let me clarify one more point. In the satsang, there was one more relevant question. I had earlier said that even Brahmaji is a jiva who is appointed at the head of Brahmaloka for a duration of one kalpa. And he has to vacate the position when the tenure is over. Then a new jiva, qualified jiva, who has gone through the multi-layered interview process for appointment of Brahmaji's post, he will be appointed as the next Brahmaji in the beginning of the next kalpa. So the question is, what happens to the present Brahmaji? Will he get Videha Mukti? Because since the Acharya of Vedanta is in Brahmaloka, he should be a Jivan Mukta. At the end of the term, he should get Videha Mukti. So that is also a relevant question. And the point is, all of us are still in the realm of entertainment. We want to know more and more and more about Anatma instead of focusing on knowing about Atma. As I told you, it is not the scripture's purpose to talk about all these things, Brahmaji, life, Mukti and all. But that is what we are all engaged in. And when such questions come up, it becomes the Acharya's duty to answer them to the best of his or her abilities. So I said that if the present Brahmaji has got Brahma Jnanam, but if he is not abiding in that Jnanam, then the moksha is not complete. And therefore, he will also go back to another loka based upon the Punya Papa balance in his karma account. That is one possibility. Second possibility is that he is not merely a Shrotriya, but he is a Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. He has knowledge and abides in that knowledge, in which case he would be a Jivan Mukta. And therefore, at the end of the term, he will become Videha Mukta. So there are two possibilities. And as I said in the Upanishad class, it is not the intention of Vedantic scriptures to go into all these details of creation. Because ab initio creation is mithya, just an appearance. It has no relevance from the standpoint of absolute reality. Anyway, we'll come back to the sloka. So I was saying that special people alone, whom Krishna is referring to as Brahmavido Janaha, will be entitled to travel through this Shukla Gati route. And who are they? We will discuss in the next class. Okay, we'll stop here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavad hai everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hari Om, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Guruji,
Ah,
when you said that the Brahma, when he finishes his term, he relinquishes. Correct?
yeah.
Now, this what is the selection process? Like Shankaracharya, when he is still in the chair, he is selecting his successor.
On what basis?
On what basis?
The Shankaracharya's successor is selected. There are many bases for that. One is they will read that person's horoscope, whether that person has got the yoga for sannyasa.
Sannyasi, correct.
Number two, whether he is very well versed in the Vedas,
Vedas.
in all the Vedas.
Correct.
Particularly in the Veda it belongs to, because in Kanchipuram, they all Shankaracharyas are Rigvedis.
Rigvedis.
So Rigveda, whether very well versed in that. Third is, they will see whether this person actually is a good speaker, he can teach. He got administrative abilities, at a potential administrator, because he has to manage the whole madam,
Articulation should be good.
Articulation should be there, leadership quality should be there. All those things are there. So Brahmaji also, of course, I don't know what are the qualifications for Brahmaji. If I know, I would have at least, whether Vedanta, this Brahma Jnanam comes or not, I would have worked parallelly for becoming a Brahmaji. But we don't know. Only thing we know is Shastra says, do all these things. Whatever we are saying, the do's and don'ts of Shastra, you adhere to that. And it may not happen that one janma or anything, cumulative janmas, keep on doing it. Then maybe at some stage you will become entitled to be, at least apply for the position. Today, if we won't even be eligible to apply for the position, isn't it?
Correct, absolutely.
So like that, I do not know, I have not come across the scriptures also. What are all the qualifications? But one of the things that comes to my mind now is people who go to Brahmaloka and they are all getting Brahma Jnana. Suppose there is someone who has done everything, he is able to abide to a large extent on that Brahma Jnana. But there is still a small portion of prarabdha left. Maybe that person is eligible to become the next Brahmaji, so that he finishes that prarabdha and gets moksha. One just possibility, I'm just drawing a parallel from between Ramana Maharshi's answer where he was asked, you have not gone to any guru or anything and you have got moksha. So he said, what do you know about my previous birth? Maybe there was some little prarabdha left, karma left, which he had to exhaust in this birth, and then moksha is there. So similar, some is parallel only we can draw exactly what qualifications are required. I'm sorry, I'm not be able to tell you.
No,
Only
Guruji, one more
general
thing.
answer I can give.
In the lighter vein, we keep talking about Nari Shakti. Why can't she be a Brahma?
Can be. Because when
Any,
it comes to Jiva, there is no he, she, and all that.
no gender at all.
No gender at all.
Mm.
So can be Nari. So we have got so many women who are very well. The Shastra itself talks about so many. Maitri, Gargi, so many very well versed women in Shastras are there. It can be she also. But generally what happens, male dominated world. So we normally, because he includes she also. Whenever we say he, we must understand it includes she also.
But in the Sindoor briefing also we saw, no? Who were the
Yeah, exactly. See, when you come to this subject matter, we must leave all that gender discrimination businesses behind. In our mind, we must be very clear. We are talking about jivas.
Jivas.
Yes. And not only the human jivas, we are talking about all jivas. We are talking about every living being in this entire cosmos. Everybody deserves equal respect. Even a mosquito, that's what Puja Swamiji says, and I also follow that. Mosquito is there. Protect yourself from the mosquito. For protecting yourself, don't kill the mosquito. That is not correct. That is a papa, adharmika karma. Mosquito has also got a right to live. Now,
Yes.
why are you swatting it, killing it, and doing like this, and all, as if you are doing some bhajan? But then it is very difficult to convince people about all these things.
That is self-defense, what to do.
Yeah. Self-defense means take protection. There are so many ways you can have some, vaporizer or something to drive the mosquitoes away.
Repellents and mosquito net.
Yeah. So many things are there. Need not necessarily kill them. So anyhow, these are all long topics we can discuss. Anyhow.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Yes, Lataji. Unmute.
Namaste, Guruji. Guruji, even after you're explaining, I'm still having doubt about this shloka number 24, where Krishna is not saying Brahma Upasaka, he is saying knower of the Brahma goes to Brahman. So I thought that applies to a person who is already realized.
That is why in next class I'll explain the word Brahma Vidaha.
Because knower of the Brahma is Brahma. It becomes a
Brahma Vidaha here refers to Brahma Upasaka, the Saguna Brahma Upasaka. That is why, you must, this confusion is genuine. When you come to Vedanta, all these subtle differences, which context Krishna is talking about? When Krishna is saying Brahma Vidaha goes to Brahma Loka, if he is a Brahma Vidaha, knower of Brahmans, Nirguna Brahman, we know that there is no travel involved for the Nirguna Brahma who has attained the Nirguna Brahman, who has who gains knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi and abides in that. We know that he has no travel.
But I thought it was the a Jnani when he leaves the body. This is the
Jnani doesn't leave the body. For Jnani, there is no body.
But there is no body. He has dropped the body. He's a Jivan Mukta.
Drop the body and all are Ajnani expressions. A Jnani knows he never has a body. He is only consciousness. So you must come out of this Ajnanam thinking. Then align with Jnani thinking. For Jnani, there is no karma, there is no prarabdha, there is nothing.
And no body.
All that we are talking about is from a Ajnani's point of view.
Okay. So this whole chapter was only to Saguna Upasaka.
Yeah, I told you the chapter is about Krama Mukti. whenever Krishna is talking about Brahmavid, etc., is all with reference to Krama Mukti, not Sadhyo Mukti. Sadhyo Mukti will talk in the next chapter, 9th chapter. There also he will use the word Brahma Vidaha. So the Brahma Vidaha here is different from Brahma Vidaha there. These are all the subtle points of Vedanta which we have to keep in mind.
Okay, Guruji. Yeah.
Hello, the Brahma Vidaha, we will deal with it in the next class.
Later. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Any more?
Namaste, Guruji. Namaste,
Yeah.
Guruji.
Namaste.
Yeah, Guruji, you said ritualist will not get Krama Mukti. So, what is the ritualist will not get Krama Mukti? So, what is the trajectory for him? He has to travel through 84 yonis.
No. He will go through Krishna Marga.
Okay. That means who doesn't do Upasana and meditation.
Yes. So that's a lower form of bhakti. He'll go through Krishna Marga, come back. Here
Okay.
you go through, reach Brahmaloka, very remote chances of coming back. There, coming back assured, return ticket assured. Krishna Marga.
Then who travels through 84 lakhs yonis?
What is 84 lakh yonis? From where you get all this? I never
Okay, leave it.
84 lakh yonis.
Yeah.
When did I talk about 84 lakh yonis? You listen to so many people, all sorts of things, and then come and ask me, how can I answer? 84 lakh yonis is the total type of jivas which are there in the cosmos. As per Vedanta, as per the scriptures. So every jiva can be born as any one of the 84 lakh yonis in every birth. Countless, 84 lakh means countless basically.
Countless, yeah.
So we cannot count. For example, tiger is one yoni. Lion is one yoni.
Yeah.
How like that I can go on. Which bacteria? Each bacteria different yonis. Each virus different yonis. Can you count all of them? Shastra says it is 84 lakh. We take it that. Again, coming to Vedanta, please change your mind, change your thinking. We are not talking about what are all appearances. We are talking about what is the reality. So you have to keep in mind. Go ask me questions about Brahman and things like that and all, or a Jnani, I will answer. Now all these relating to Anatma and also Apara Prakriti, we are talking about Para Prakriti in the Vedanta classes, but people are getting attracted towards Apara Prakriti only. Irrelevant questions. So that you must realize.
Okay.
Nowhere I have not, so long ago in some context, maybe I have told, Shastra talks about every Vishnu Sahasranamam context, I said 84 lakh yonis. It is there, Shastra talks about that. But then not Upanishads. The Purva Bhaga talks about that. We have to understand all that. Puranas talk. Okay. Anyhow. Any more question is there? Relevant question I will answer. Otherwise, I need to go out for dinner. So I will probably then close the class. If you got questions, please write them down. Ask me in the next class. I will answer. Okay, I will end the session now. Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you all very much. Hari Om. Thank
Hari
you.
Om, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you very much.